And best you can tell, because he said very famously after the acquittal that he was going to do everything he could to search for the real killers. Do you know if he's ever done anything on that front, Carl?
You know, I haven't had much contact with O.J. after that time, so I can't be the one to speak to what he has or has not done in that regard, Rich.
Do you think it's something that he is going to undertake, since he clearly believes that the real killers, in his mind, must still be out there? Do you think that he's going to do that once he gets out, if he gets out?
Rich, it's been 22 years, man, since those crimes. I can't imagine that there's anything that anyone could do 22 years after the fact to uncover what may have happened back in 1994.
Okay. What do you think Johnny would be thinking today, Carl?
Oh, Johnny was always one who stood for justice. I think he would as well have been upset at the notion that 13 years to the day of his acquittal, the jury returned a verdict of guilty in this case, and I think that Johnny would agree that he deserves, for this case, to be released on parole.
Okay, and a couple more questions for Carl Douglas, attorney from the Dream Team back in the 90s here on the show. Watching that documentary, O.J. Made in America, in which you took part and you sat in and won the Oscar, I learned so much about this case that I never knew it had been the case. Is there anything you learned from watching that documentary based on seeing O.J. from behind the scenes and also stories as in one of his confidants basically saying that O.J. admitted it, that he had done this, Carl?
Well, you know, I don't necessarily believe that part of it. There were aspects of O.J.'s private life in San Francisco that I learned. I wasn't aware, for example, of the stories about his father. It was interesting for me to hear some of the stories of his childhood with his friend A.C. Cowlings. So there were some things as well in there that I took some offense to. The suggestion, for example, that O.J. was forewarned that they would have a glove demonstration and thereby he would stop taking medication so his hands would swell up. That, to me, was preposterous. No one at that time thought that there would ever be a glove demonstration. O.J. would always write on pads. There was never a complaint about his hands being swollen. So some people had other motives to spin things their way, put it like that.
So yeah, because that was a fascinating part of the documentary, that you were hoping that there would be a glove demonstration. You didn't think it was going to happen.
That is preposterous, Rich, and I can tell you that from being firsthand there. We were told for the first time in court that day that would occur, in part because we wanted to have our own demonstration with the glove at an occasion of a break when no one but a guard would be present. And Chris Darden got wind of our hopes to have a glove demonstration, and he tried to one-up us by having that occur. It was in no way planned or anticipated. And anyone who says to the contrary, I disagree.
And have you ever crossed paths with Mark Fuhrman again, Carl?
You know, I have not had occasion to see Mark Fuhrman, and I almost bought his book because I heard there was a line that if all of the Dream Team had acted like Carl Douglas, the case would not have been a circus. I did not buy it, but I was tempted on that line.
Do you care to respond to that line while you're here on the show, Carl?
You know, it's amazing what cameras will do. The cameras on this time was the best and the worst of our civil and criminal justice system, but I am a big proponent of cameras in the courtroom because I know that all of America was able to see that competence comes in all colors.
Carl E. Douglas, attorney at law, thank you so much for joining me here on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
You got it. At CEDESQ, short for Esquire.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
Isn't it amazing you can download an app with your thumbprint? You should download our app with your thumbprint.